I just wanted to give my opinion on the current wave of obstruction we've seen by the Democratic Party and I guess liberal leaning members of Congress. Sanders was on Face the Nation earlier today, and he said the Democrats should do everything they can to oppose that health care bill that was passed in the House about a month ago, I think, early May. This is June 18th. So when he said that, I was thinking about how a lot of the Republicans that get on TV now and that go around and are very active in terms of being visible among their hundreds of colleagues, they'll complain about, oh, the Democrats won't help us out. They won't sign on. They won't get involved. Trump does the same thing where he'll complain about that as well. And, you know, I have such a mixed feeling about it because it's bad to have a government that won't function because of one party or the other. That's never good. But the problem is that I keep getting reminded of how when Obama was serving out his second term and first term, well, not to the same amount as his first term because Democrats had control of the House and Senate during his first 2 years. But my point is the same thing the Republicans are complaining about with the Democrats now, they did to Obama um, during much of his presidency. So in a way, it's justified because you can't have it both ways. You can't get to play we're obstructionist party when you're not in charge, or when somebody that is of the opposing party is in the White House, but then complain that all the Democrats are doing the same thing. And it really goes back to the golden rule where you treat people the way you would want to be treated. There's no doubt in my mind that some of the Democrats are not all convinced of the same principles and probably would have voted for that health care bill if they weren't worried about being the only person in Congress who voted for it and having that on their record and becoming unpopular with their constituents. But really, what are any of these congressmen doing now? In their current capacity? And I'm not trying to say that, oh, we need to get rid of everybody, but you really have to ask yourself when you have all these politicians that are in office and you don't, I look this stuff up every day. Um, I don't see any of them saying, okay, well, I don't like what the president's doing. Here's my thing. The only two I saw with their own healthcare initiative were Senators Paul and Sanders. Everybody else was just whatever. And those two were obstructionists of Trump's initial health care bill. But the difference is that even though they opposed it, they still had their own thing. They still wanted something else. With much of the commentary I've seen, it's as if the Republicans were asleep a few years ago. They don't remember all of a sudden Obama and his various attempts at passing things for them are through their controlled Congress. So if this is to have any lasting repercussion, it's that if we get a Democratic president and there's a Republican Congress, it's going to be the same thing as Obama. If we get a Republican as president and a Democratic Congress, same thing as Trump. It's going to be we're going to get to a point in a few years where if you're running for president or if you really want to win and you want to actually do things, you have to make sure that you have enough votes and you have to go to every district and every state. Don't doubt me when I make these claims about needing a Congress that's in your hands. You go back to the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, the Democrats had control of Congress for decades ahead of President Clinton and his health care initiative. And that ended with the first 2 years of him being in the White House. But before that, from the time that Eisenhower was president, they always had control of both chambers of Congress. That's why you didn't have this under LBJ or Carter, because they were able to just negotiate with members of their own party and didn't have to worry about, oh, how many seats are up this year. So that's my opinion. It's going to have repercussions without a doubt, but you also have to put yourself in the shoes of the people who were denied for years, if that makes sense. So thank you for watching, and have a good day.